Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another live this morning here outside on a beautiful Friday morning. Not quite as hot. It's been, as Tony Jr. said, Arizona-like heat all week. Very, very hot. So good morning to you as folks come on. I hope you can see me, and I hope you're having a great day. I'm just enjoying this weather. Now, like I said, a little bit hot, but I don't want to complain because I'm not so much into climate change, other than the climate will change, and and we in Northern Ontario are going to get the cool weather. Believe me, it's coming. So we enjoy it. Good to have you on with us this morning, and Dawn. We're saying hello to you and to Andrea and Evelyn and Janelle and Lise and Yolande and Melanie and Nick. Heather, how are you? Sherry, Nativity. You guys are great. Thanks for coming on this morning. And Keith's on with us, and Evangeline, how are you? From Cape Breton, beautiful. Jerry from Nouveau Brunswick. Amina and Katie and Lorraine and Palarco. You guys have been great. Lise and Marie, bonjour. I love you guys, and nice to have you on with us this morning. Okay, so it's question and answer Friday. We got a lot of good questions that come in. They're always good, and I'm going to touch on a few subjects. Okay, now I'm going to use a prop this morning here a little bit. See this? My wife made that for me. You might have seen a picture that I posted quite a while ago. I'll post it again after on masks. And people are asking me, Doc, what do you think about masks? Okay, well, look, I don't want to get too political, okay? I just know that there's going to be, what they call a new normal. It's happening, whether we like it or not. I find when, look, I think people have good intentions, okay? So I can't judge people's intentions. I don't know what they are, but generally, with this COVID, the world's going to change, guys, whether we like it or not. And again, the motives behind that, like when you talk to an infectious disease or, for example, a public health official, this virus is everything. It's everything. And in their minds, until the virus goes away at 100%, Dr. Fauci said it himself, until it goes away 100%, which it probably never will. But anyways, we have what we call a new normal. And the three big things are social distancing. I never even heard of social distancing before COVID. Did you? Social distancing, wear a mask, and wash your hands. And don't touch your face. That's probably four things. Okay? So it's the way it is. They're gonna do it from what I see. It's gonna happen in the schools. It's gonna happen in the public. It is going to happen inside stores. It's happening already, but I mean, it's probably our new normal. I don't like it per se, because you guys know me. I'm big on you taking care of yourself and taking care of your immune system. And so just understand that for me, I just want to tell you where I'm coming from. I will wear a mask to obey the government. So if the government tells me I've got to wear a mask to get on an airplane, I will wear a mask to get on an airplane. Like I'm not gonna not travel if it means, I'm gonna stand up and I'm not traveling ever again because I have to wear a mask. Look, you can do that. That's up to you as an individual. But for me, I won't do that. Okay, I just want to tell you that ahead of time. And you know, if to go down to Florida, if I got to get into a plane or whatever, and I got to wear a mask, I don't like it. But I will do it. Okay, so just understand that. Okay, and I just so I'm not going to go into 50 points on a mask. Just remember this, okay? So when you know, I'll put it on for you so you have a prop, okay? Whoop. They killed myself. See, the problem is I can't communicate as well with this, right? Okay? So I'm taking it off. Just understand something about the science of this, okay? The virus is so small that I don't care what kind of mask you got on. This virus is so small. That's what viruses are. They're so small. When you wear a mask, okay, just understand this. If you think that a virus can't be transmitted through the best mask in the universe, this is a homemade mask. It's kind of cute, isn't it? But what does it really do? Well, you know, the best masks cover between, what do they say, 20 and 100 microns. Okay? The virus is 100 times smaller than that. So when people wear a mask, they're reducing the risk of anxiety for them and for someone else. They're not reducing the risk. I could go into, when you go into a store and you have a mask, you better take that mask off the second you get out of the store and wash your hands. You go to a hospital, they're wearing a mask, the doctors go in. When they go in to your room, and let's say they have to wear, well, they do today, but you know, in the past, if you had any kind of infectious disease, or they didn't want you to get it, you know what the doctor did or the nurse did? They put the mask on just before they went into your room. It was fitted for them almost perfectly. They put their gloves on before they went into the room, just as they were going in. And then after they were finished their business with you, on the way out, they discarded everything. You know what, my son-in-law, a wonderful physician, you know what he says is driving him crazy? He's an emergency physician. You know what's driving him crazy? Is all the rigmarole they have to go through between patients. Everything has to come off, and they must resuit themselves again. It's time-consuming. It drives the staff crazy, but they have no choice. But I'm just saying, in a hospital setting, they discard everything. Immediately, if you go out in your car with a mask on, you're infecting your car. When I see people driving with a mask in their car, I have a headache. It's not working. You don't need to discard your. So Rosie made me a beautiful mask, but you know what? I know all about it. I'm supposed to discard it, but I'm not wearing it for the virus, guys. Don't wear a mask for the virus. Wear it if you must. And I think they're going to in Toronto, if you go into any public building, apparently they voted for it this week, you have to wear a mask. Well, that's obeying the government. I don't like it because it's not science. It's not true. Don't fool yourself by it. Okay? You got a shield? Did you see the scientists working in the lab with viruses? They got a whole suit on. And they got a mask, and not only a mask, they got the complete unit on their head. Now that's science. That's science. But not wearing a flimsy mask. It makes you feel better. It's just reducing the risk of transmission of anxiety. It reduces the risk of transmission of anxiety. So all I'm saying is, don't fool yourself. But will I wear a mask? Even though this thing is completely useless? Yes, if I have to. To get on a plane, I'll do it. To go to a baseball game? I love baseball. If they say, not this year, but next year, oh, you want to go? I like bringing my grandsons to a baseball game. We do a little trip, my 3 youngest grandsons. And it's grandpa with his grandsons. And I love that, okay? Because they love baseball, and so does grandpa, okay? So I take my 3 youngest grandsons with me. We've been doing it for a few years, and they love it, and grandpa loves it even more than they do. And if I have to take them to a ball game, and they tell us you can't go sit in the stadium without a mask on, I will wear a mask. I will wear a mask. Okay? So that's just me. So once again, don't fool yourself. If you think you're protecting yourself, or even other people, you're fooling yourself. It don't work. And the World Health Organization, isn't that funny? They said it a few months ago. Oh, wearing a mask, that doesn't do anything. Now they've completely changed their narrative. Because the media love it, guys. The media love it. They've never been so popular. And our government, the leaders, have never been so popular with this thing. Anyways, I don't want to get into it. I've talked a lot about COVID, everything COVID. But somebody asked me about the mask. Dr. Martin, give me your opinion on the mask. It's my opinion. I think I'm right. And whatever you believe, I love you. Okay? And I mean that. You got to make up. I'm here to give you information. I can't go home with, I tell my patients that all the time. I can't go home with you. You're the one that has to make the choices. And you're the one that's got to make the decisions. But get as much information as you can. Okay? Get as much, and I saw a lady yesterday there, and she goes, okay, she had a mask on, and then she puts it around her neck here like this, okay? Just to slip it down to talk. What's she? Oh, it doesn't work that way. Virus, that little coronavirus is 1,000 times smaller than what you can protect yourself. You just can't. Okay, let's go. That's why you need the invisible mask, vitamin A. Okay. Now, so it did that. Okay, that was one of the questions. Dairy. Okay, let me just state this. I think it's important you understand this about dairy. Okay, because Doc, why do you have dairy as part of the reset? Okay? And you know me. I separate dairy. Because milk today is not dairy. Milk today in the grocery store is a farthest thing from the cow that you can think of. Because that's not the way it came out. Okay? I mean, they heat it up till 1,200 degrees to pasteurize it. And that's all right. That denatures it to some extent. But it's when they take the fat out of it. You have to understand, from my point of view, dairy is very healthy when it's real dairy. So the closest thing you're going to get to milk, whole milk, real milk, is if you have a cow in the backyard. If you don't have a cow in the backyard, then when you want to put something in your coffee, and don't just drink it for the sake of drink. Why do you have to have milk? You don't need milk, especially today's milk. So somebody's asking me about lactose-free. Ugh. Why are you even, you see, you have in this, I'm not saying you guys, but most people, okay, have in their minds that milk is good for them. Yeah, if you're a baby, mommy's milk is very good for you. It's 100% good for you, okay? But man has destroyed milk. And this is why you get 60, 70%. Oh, doc, I can't have dairy. I said, well, you can't have milk. That doesn't mean you can't have cheese, especially aged cheese. Because it's got no sugar in it. It's the way it's made. It's natural. There's very little lactose in that. So I always separate dairy. And I don't care. You go tell Dr. Martin lactose free, or I take enzyme lactase. Well, if you have to take an enzyme to drink milk, why the heck are you drinking it? Your body's telling you, what are you drinking this stuff for? You know why 70% of the population? It's because it's fat-free. It's 1% or 2%. Even worse, skim. Skim milk is Pepsi. White Pepsi. So you see what I'm saying, guys? Like, lay off that stuff. But you can have cheese. You can have cream. Full of fat. Very healthy. Dairy fat is good for you. It has CLA. You know what CLA is? CLA is a fatty acid that is so good for you. That fat is good for you. Dairy fat is good for you. So like I said, if you have a cow in the backyard, drink the milk. Otherwise, just eat cheese. Eggs, meat, and cheese. There's a reason I say that. And cream too. Okay? I get asked that every day. What about cream? Because, you see, I need a saying, okay? So when I say eggs, meat, and cheese, I could say eggs, meat, and dairy minus milk. But I don't, that doesn't rhyme. Well, eggs, meat, and cheese, it's so easy to say. That's why I say it all the time, okay? So just understand where I'm coming from. And I think I talked to you yesterday, and I'm going to do this next week, okay? I'm going to talk to you about quit eating dessert for breakfast. You're going to like that segment, okay? Quit eating dessert for breakfast. Okay, we're leaving that for next week. So somebody asked me about dairy. Doc, why are you so hung up on dairy and that you love it? Because if you go online, the vast majority of sites will tell you, oh, limit your dairy. Oh, you don't have cheese. It's not good for you. It's got fat. And so do eggs. And so does steak. And I talked to you about this week, the tremendous story that came out about saturated fat. And finally, the cardiologist, the College of American Cardiology, finally got one thing right. They got salt wrong, they got sugar wrong, they got fat wrong, they got cholesterol wrong. They got statin drugs wrong. Everything they've ever announced. They got cereals wrong. They got it all wrong, but they finally this week, they repented. I think it was last week. They repented in sackcloth and ashes. Hidden though, you could hardly find it, where the Journal of American Cardiology finally admitted that saturated fat is found in eggs, meat, and cheese. Saturated fat doesn't cause heart disease. It must have killed them to say that. It must have killed them for the editor of that journal, speaking on behalf of the College of Cardiology in the US of A, to say that. Ooh. Only for 50 years I've been saying it. Eat your fat. Fat does not make you fat. Remember yesterday? John the Baptist? Crying in the wilderness. Anyways, guys, you can understand. Listen, there's even a question this morning, okay? Dr. Martin, here's my total cholesterol. Oh, it gives me a headache. And listen. One thing you have to learn one thing you should learn, if you're going to be a physician of any kind, you better have patience and you better repeat. Okay? So I don't mind. If you send me in your cholesterol blood work and I look at it, I'm not being dismissive, okay? Please, don't get my motives wrong. I'm just, you got to understand, I don't need to look at 100 things. I just need to look at a few things. I'm only interested in a few things in your blood work, What's this mean? What's that mean? What's this mean? What's that mean? Well, I want to know what your triglycerides are. I want to know what your HDL is. I don't care what your total cholesterol is. I don't care what your LDL is. I don't care. I don't. So don't try and make me care about that. I can't. My mind doesn't think that way. I need to know what's going on. So give me those two numbers. I can tell you I can write a book about those two numbers. I mean it. Give me those two numbers. I'll tell you what your liver is doing. Give me those two numbers, I'll tell you what your pancreas is doing. Give me those two numbers, I'll tell you what your insulin is doing. Give me those two numbers, I'll tell you whether you're on your way to having a heart attack or a stroke. Give me those two numbers, I can tell you a whole lifetime story of your body. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Simple. And only the world of medicine has complicated everything. It drives me crazy. You have to get to the bottom line. Okay, very good questions. Okay, every week I get asked this question about thyroid, and I'll go over it again. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the thyroid gland. Now, a couple of things I'm going to say, because the questions come in, and I appreciate these questions on the thyroid, okay? See your thyroid? I'm hitting mine, okay? There's my thyroid, right there. It's a butterfly-shaped organ. And it is very important organ. But, okay, here's the buts. But it does not act independently. The thyroid is a puppet. Okay? So just understand that. It does not act independently. You need to, I try and bring to you why your thyroid is doing what it's doing. A lot of people, and here's another, these are headlines, okay? 1, the thyroid does not act independently. 2, second biggest point about the thyroid, never forget this. Never forget this. Symptoms trump your blood work. Never forget that. Because the blood work for the thyroid gland, the blood work for the thyroid gland is very, very unreliable at the best of times. You need to understand that. So if your TSH, ladies, comes back and it seems to be within normal limits, just understand what normal is. Normal is range from here to eternity almost. And I always do what my dad taught me. If it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck, it's a duck. So if your thyroid, if you have symptoms of fatigue and weight gain and hair loss and thinning and brittle nails and dry skin, cold hands and feet, mood swings, muscle pain, constipation, brain fog, neck swelling, voice changes, unexplained itching or rashes, insomnia, irritability, even manic symptoms, memory loss, paranoia, these can all be thyroid. It's complicated. Why? Because your thyroid is not independent. And especially ladies, hello. Ladies, Linda, are you listening? Your thyroid and your ovaries are majorly connected. If you have estrogen dominance, and it's always, remember, estrogen is always combined with progesterone, always. So you might have normal levels of estrogen, but you don't have normal levels of progesterone. Well, then you have what we call estrogen dominant. If you have that, well, you don't convert. You see, the key to your thyroid is that your thyroid makes, like your thyroid is told to make by your hypothalamus down to your pituitary, then off to the thyroid, and it's told to make T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, and calcitonin. Okay, just understand that as a, but there's a lot of things that if you have anything going wrong in your liver, if you are a carboholic, you start fatty liver, you don't even know it. But now you can't convert. What your thyroid needs is T3 to work properly. So all those other ones get converted to T3. T4 especially, they get converted to T4, then they're T3. It's complicated, but just understand that part of it. And remember I shown you this? The thyroid, take out a little teaspoon. Just take out a teaspoon. And in 1 year, your thyroid only makes 1 teaspoon of T3. Do you see how easy it would be to trip up your thyroid gland? And if you have any, I think I just mentioned 18 symptoms. Now I always look at the thyroid but I want to know how you're feeling. I don't care so much about your blood work. The blood work is not very reliable at the best of times. So, when you ask me about thyroid, just understand it's complicated, and especially for women. Now, men too, men can have some trouble with thyroid, but not often, nothing compared. You know, even your testosterone men, because somebody asked me about testosterone. So let me just talk about low T just for a minute. Okay? Can I tell you something interesting about testosterone? You peak at testosterone, men, at about 25 years old. You peak. And then it's all downhill after that. So ladies, you probably have experienced that with your husband, right? It's all downhill. Ladies, you're going to get a special place in heaven, okay? I'm just telling you, for putting up with mankind. Men. I did Ladies' Lives Matter. Remember that? Okay? If you haven't seen that video or the podcast, okay? Ladies' lives matter. Men's lives don't matter so much. Because when it was Father's Day, I remember always my mother would say, it's always Father's Day. Every day is Father's Day. And my mom she wasn't far from the truth, Men, we're so dense. Oh my word. And we got so little. We're so uncomplicated compared to women. And we just don't get it most of the time. By the way, ladies, you know this. I'm your best friend, okay? Because I study hormones. Hormones. Men don't have hormones. Now, we got testosterone. And it goes downhill after the age of 25. But it's not that complicated. It's not that complicated. Testosterone's not that complicated. You know when men really lose their testosterone? When their liver. Again, you see, I don't even have to look at a man's testosterone levels. Although, if you want to send them to me, happy to look at them. But I don't even need to see that. Just show me a man's triglycerides and his HDL. I'll tell you what his testosterone is doing. Did you know that? Yep. It's sinking like the Titanic. And the reason men get prostate cancer is because their testosterone goes way down and their estrogen, their womanly hormone, takes over. I have tested thousands and thousands and thousands of men over the years, and I found thousands and thousands of men, especially around the age of 50, that have higher estrogen levels than their wives. What did Arnold Schwarzenegger used to say? They're girly men. Remember he used to say that? They're girly men. Well, we become girly men because we got more estrogen than testosterone. How do you fight that? Well, first of all, you see, if it comes to, think about this for a minute. I just want you to think with me. Even when it comes to the thyroid, think of how important the diet is, because if it's most of the conversions of even T1, T2, T3, T4, T5 in your thing occur in the gut or in the liver. You got leaky gut, you could have trouble with your thyroid. Testosterone, men, the conversion occurs in the liver. And if you're a bad eater, your liver is full of glycogen. It's got no room to do the conversion. This is why I like to look at triglycerides and HDL. I can tell you in a minute what your liver is doing. And if your liver is doing that, your testosterone, man, is going down. So, if you got brain fog, man, your sex life ain't what it used to be, you got prostate problems and that, you got issues. What do? Change your diet. Eggs, meat, and cheese. It'll elevate your testosterone and clean out your liver. Okay, what other question did I have? About emptying the liver on the reset, somebody just asked about, does that help to detoxify if you're taking medications? Absolutely. One of the biggest thing about the reset, remember this, please. The biggest thing on the reset is I'm aiming directly at not only your pancreas. It's gone to Hawaii for 30 days. It's on a holiday. It's the only thing that can leave the country right now. I know there's a travel ban, but if you're on the reset, you can leave, your organs can leave the country. Your pancreas gets a 30-day holiday, and your liver does too. You completely regenerate it. It takes you out of metabolic syndrome in 30 days. Dr. Martin, I didn't lose the weight that I wanted to lose. Well, the reset there's thousands of people who have lost weight, but that's not the point of the reset. It is a metabolic reset, and 88% of the population have trouble with their metabolism. 88%. The reset will fix that. It fixes it. I'm excited. Somebody asked about 2 more questions. What about water bottles? There's a copper water bottle out. Do I like it? I don't know. I like water. Copper, I know it's supposed to pick up your iron. I don't know. You know, when they tell you to wear a copper bracelet and a copper, now they got copper wear. You can wear, copper sweaters or shirts that, help your back with copper. I don't know. I'm not saying, I don't dismiss them completely. I just never found it to be the be-all and end-all. Copper bracelet. Oh, Dr. Martin, I got rheumatoid arthritis, and copper bracelet really helped. Well, good for you if it did. I mean it. If I thought hanging you upside down from a building would help you, I would go hold your feet. You know what? I haven't never been that big on copper because I never found it in my practice to be as good as everybody else thought it was. So clinically, I wouldn't. Now look, I mean, if you want to, you go do it. It's not going to hurt you. More important that you drink the water, though. 2 liters every day. 2 liters every day. 46 years of experience, I'm going to tell you. If you're not drinking 2 liters of water, and only water is water, if you're not drinking 2 liters of water every day, you're making a mistake. That's all I'm telling you. And the best water is spring water because it's got minerals in it. And if you want to drink, don't drink distilled water, but if you want to drink tap water, filter it out, and then add Himalayan salt. Put a pinch of salt in there, so now you have mineral water. Mineral is the water, it's spring water, that's the best water for your body, okay? You want to know? Yeah. Do you want to spend a lot of money doing it? Well, look, I drink 2 liters at least, and sometimes more, especially if I work out. Okay, now, duodenal ulcers is the last question. How do you get them? Well, duodenal ulcers can come from a few things. One, from H. pylori, a bacteria. It can come from cortisol, stress. Stress can burn a hole right in your duodenum and give you a duodenal ulcer. But usually what I found is that it's inflammation. It's silent, caused by a bad diet more than anything else. And that's what lets the bacteria and the fungus flourish in your gut, which can lead to an ulcer. It's amazing what happens when you change your diet, guys. It's amazing what happens. That 26 feet of intestine that you have, it's amazing what happens in there. The changes in there. Incredible what happens. Okay, so guys, thanks for watching. You guys have, to my American friends, okay, happy Independence Day, July 4th tomorrow. You guys have a great holiday. We had our holiday on Wednesday, July 1st, Canada Day. Don't we live in 2 great countries, guys? We really do. Now, we're not perfect, but we do live in wonderful countries. We have our freedom. We have a freedom to do what I'm doing right now. So far, they haven't shut me down. Okay? And happy Independence Day, July 4th. I don't think there'll be the fire. Well, maybe you'll have fireworks. In Canada, we didn't have any. I didn't remember seeing any stinking fireworks. I missed that. Anyway, love you guys. Send in your questions next week. We will do this again next Friday. But send in your questions for that. And I will be bringing you some interesting topics. Share this with your friends and your family, okay? It gives us a bigger presence. We figured out yesterday, Tony Jr. and I think around 2 million hits, 2 million total downloads of the videos and the podcasts. Tremendous. We appreciate it, okay? I appreciate it. I love you guys dearly. Talk to you soon.